What's really going on, everybody? Back again with a special episode, number 82. As always, Noah Lyons, joined by Mackenzie Marshall, joined by amateur TikTok body workout guru Henry Woods. We're back again. Be sure to follow us on our social media at WRGO Pod. Be sure to check out the website at what'sreallygoingonpod.com. Apparently, we still have merch on sale, ? I don't know, but you can always still get it. And you can always like, listen, subscribe, and share on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So we have, first off, how are you guys?
You always got to do the most. Let's go back for a second. Stop knocking my hustle, man.
For our YouTube listeners, you can see Henry in a very extra medium shirt.
This is well fitted, dry fit. It's a Hugo Boss shirt. Stop playing.
Brand check.
Happy Women's History Month.
There we go. Let's get to the business. Dang.
Y'all thought y'all was over with Black History. We got Black Women History Month. This is what we focusing on this month, okay?
That part. And we about to drop a TikTok, you know what I'm saying, just to give you that flash to let you know it ain't Black History just for 28 days. It's Black History 365. You know what I'm talking about?
All right. So the main reason why we are gathered here today is because of the situation in Ukraine. Obviously, it's a lot of stuff going on in the news. So, of course, knowing who we are, we did some research. So I am going to explain kind of how we got here, and then we're just going to kind of talk about what the response is happening today. So, all right. So boom. So this all kind of started when the Soviet Union fell in the 1990s. And there were 15 states that emerged after they fell, Ukraine being one of them after the Soviet Union dissolved. To stay free, Ukraine gave their nuclear arms to Russia. They were at the time they were the third most powerful nuclear country in the world in the 90s, but they gave all of their nuclear arms to Russia with the promise that Russia would not attack. This was put to the test in 2014 when Putin invaded Crimea, which is on Ukraine's kind of southern part of the country. This happened after Ukraine's president fled the country due to protests that were involving him postponing joining the European Union, which is important. In that conflict, at least 14,000 were killed and 2 million Ukrainians were displaced. This all stems from Putin viewing Ukraine as a part of Russia because of the USSR, which I just mentioned. So today, a couple years ago, Putin tried to take advantage of Ukraine's then new president, Vladimir Zelensky, by basically trading the areas that he controlled in eastern Ukraine and Crimea, which I just mentioned, in exchange for influence over the country, which Zelensky said absolutely not. Ukraine then sought help from the European Union and NATO, which Putin basically hated. And Putin basically demanded that NATO move its military borders away from Russian borders along the north. NATO declined and basically said, we're going to put our forces on high alert, because of multiple factors, such as, the U.S. struggling with the Afghanistan pullout, Trump being elected, a new chancellor in Germany, France coming up for elections, the British leaving the European Union. Europe was basically weaker. The U.S. was weaker. And at that point, he basically just said, you know what? Now's the time.
Okay, Noah. So to make it digestible to people and
but this is all important because this is, or rather, we just
have sleep over there with your history lesson. So to make it simple, I ain't cutting you off on that. Putin basically messed up the treaty that was agreed upon after World War II.
No.
See, I was like,
no.
You gotta simplify what you just said.
That was the simplest, and I think this is what kind of I think is interesting, is that we don't talk about this. The way the media talks about this, and we'll get into this later, is that this is just like Putin just kind of like saying, oh, I woke up and I just decided to like invade Ukraine. No, This is like a decade-long thing that has to do with like history and, the Cold War, World War II. It's not just like he just woke up and was like, I'm going to invade Ukraine today. No, it's like this has to do with a lot of different
He's been plotting on this.
Yeah. So for me to describe it in 2 minutes is basically like condensing, the earliest date I have in here is the 1990s.
No, I get you. We just want to make it, you know how we do, make it digestible for the viewers.
That was the easiest way to make it digestible.
I got it. We just, boom, pinpoint it. I got you. So,
So I
this
think
was
we all know about the conflict and whatnot. So I think obviously Putin invaded Ukraine last week, and they're holding off, but not really going to be. Seems like in the long run, there's a big I don't know, a convoy is what they say, heading to the capital city. I guess my question to you all is like, what's kind of your biggest takeaway from all of this, and is the U.S. doing enough, or should they do less? I think that's my key question.
I mean, I don't really feel like at this point, and I hate to sound like this, I just feel like we shouldn't get involved. And I say that just because it was just such a big deal that we deployed all those troops from Afghanistan. Like it was such a big deal to remove ourselves from that war or whatever that conflict that was happening over there that we weren't really gaining anything from. And I would hate for us to get involved into something else that is just years and something like this, like what you said, explaining how many years that this has been thought about and been planned. If this really goes full out, it could be a long war or something. I don't know. I just feel like we should just kind of retreat for a minute because I just feel like America always gets involved. Um, and I don't know. I just feel like America always gets involved when we should maybe mind our own business, honestly.
well, yeah, because I wanted to like I guess not address, but like go into a point to where you said this has been building up. We don't learn this stuff in our history books for real, like especially about Russia. They give you like a glance of like European history and that's it. So like unless you're like a super, I guess, like research into like world history and stuff, you're not gonna really care about this, the average person, or know about it. So for me, it was like, oh, Putin woke up one day and decided just go invade this other country. And like I was asking my sister who was in the military or whatever, I'm like, I thought war was played out. Like I thought it was like a tech war, like you or send a missile or something like that. She was like, no, sometimes you still, she explained that whole part. But like point in case, like you said, it has been built up. I just don't necessarily understand the intricacy of it. I don't think America needs to get involved with sending troops, maybe sending aid, but like I don't. That goes into so much because it's like we always are open armed to like European countries when they need help or something is going on, but in Africa it's so many different type of wars, or in these third world countries they like to call them, and we barely support. So like that's my stance, especially with like these people, from my knowledge, holding people that may look like me or my like skin type into like like chaos that's happening over there. So like it's just conflicting. Like, yeah, I care about all of what's going on and I want the people that's experiencing this like traumatic time period of a war environment, because I have never personally been in that place, to definitely be safe, and get out safely and have somewhere to go. But at the same time, it's like conflicting with my personal feelings on like world history and all that stuff, because I mean, as a Black American, as a Black man, I know just certain stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree, especially about seeing the videos. I'm sure a lot of y'all, or if you haven't seen, there was videos surfacing, and just interviews with Africans who were in Ukraine trying to flee the country like everyone else, were being denied, being detained, being held up, not being able to leave just like everyone else. So when I see images like that, it's like liberate the Ukraine and like liberate the people there for sure, 100%. But I just feel like every time we have these crises, Black people all over that picture of Andre 3000, darker skinned people always get the short end of the stick. And I'm just like, like, yes, I also agree with your point, Henry. I don't think we should send troops, but yeah, sending aid, I definitely support that. Sending aid and sending things that can help, but actually getting involved, physically involved, I don't support, especially when it's, you know, people in the world disasters. We could have sent aid and troops, and when all these other countries need help,
And
like,
can I ask a question, Noah? Because you're the political head here. We all have our different strengths. My question here is like how I asked earlier of like, did Putin just basically mess up the agreement after World War II? Like, where does that play its part here?
It doesn't. I mean, like, it's basically just saying like, there was no agreement on Putin's side because he was basically, or Russia's side because they were basically the other part of, they were basically the foe to NATO, and their pact just kind of just fell apart. And this is basically just him trying to basically say, which is like why NATO and the US do play kind of a factor in this, because NATO keeps expanding and getting closer to Russia. So Putin is saying in his head, his calculus is they keep pulling up to my doorstep. I need to back them up because I don't want their way of life to influence my country. So Ukraine and all of these other kind of countries are on this like border of like they border NATO countries like Poland and others, but he's basically trying to push, the West, like, England and US and all these other kind of, white European countries back. So this is basically his just attempt to basically just kind of say like, get off my ass. Like you're keep pushing up on my block and you're going to keep pushing until I tell you not to. And I think this wasn't the smartest play for him. But I guess my question to you both, I guess, is, people who like most are just like seeing this and being like, what's going on? The US did put like sanctions down on stuff. And it does seem like since Russia is one of the larger producers of gas, that's kind of been the bigger thing of like, certain things might rise in cost. Do you think that even that is an acceptable, loss if we do send aid? Because I don't think we're ever going to send troops unless, Russia just like throws a bomb on a NATO country. This is not going to happen. But we are sending aid, but that also means that like we're going to cut off Russia from other stuff. So it's kind of like is the trade-off of saying like, hey, gas might be a little bit higher on the margins, but we're helping out these people. How do you all feel about that?
I'm about to go turn my heat off right now. That's how I feel. Okay. Oh, that's how I feel.
Bro, it's like literally Mackenzie made that sound again because it's for me as an American, and that's the thing, like as an American, we don't necessarily expect, we don't have to, like, we're not over there worried about our like a bomb come through our roof and that like that. We kind of cool. So it's right, fingers crossed, because you never know with bro. But like I guess it's just like, do I want to pay more for gas? Inflation is already biting me in my behind now. Paying wages are not going up. So it's like, but I did just say we should send aid, huh? So they're gonna tax us as people, right?
I mean, so yeah, I mean, like I think that gets to like the interesting question where it's like, yes, like as a country that is literally physically not in Europe, we have a layer of like removal from all of this, but we still, it's kind of like the US is in this position where and we'll talk, this is my last question on this topic later, but they're kind of like damned if they get in, damned if they don't, because it looks bad if they don't, but if they get in, it then kind of raises the stakes of everything. So I think,
aren't they already in per this treaty though?
They're part of the treaty, but like they're not like saying, Biden, to his credit, which is why I actually think he's done like a pretty good job on this. He has never said like, oh yeah, we're gonna send like boots on the ground. Like he's been like, no, we're just gonna like try to economically make it hard for them to stay in this. But I think he's just kind of like, what else do you want me to do? Because we're not, we've made them, like Mackenzie said, we've made the mistake of just kind of going into a war and kind of just being like, we'll figure it out once we get there. And we were in that war from the time we were in elementary till earlier, like last year.
Right.
Crazy.
I think the last question that I had for you all, I think, is largely kind of like a media question, since I know that's kind of like how that's your all's main, especially like Mackenzie and Henry, you're kind of in the marketing space. I think the one thing that I think that I found interesting is how the US talks about this from the standpoint of like, I think we want to always view ourselves as like, we're the rational person and we're always like going to do the right thing. So I think that we've taken to Ukraine in almost like a perverse way of like, look at these little guys who are fighting this like, this evil person, without kind of like recognizing that like we've been Russia in many cases and like we're really not the ones.
It's propaganda. It's literally propaganda. It literally is. Just watching it, it's literally like they're painting him to be like the cartoonist, like the cartoon, the mean, angry monster, and this just communist, and it's just these evil things, and then we're gonna come in and save them. And you know what? To an extent, I don't know. I've never been to Russia. I've never spoken to a person from Russia. I don't know what the environment is, but also just I don't know. Being on the Western side of things, we're conditioned to think that we're right and our ideas are right. And there's probably people in Russia who probably think that they're right, genuinely think that they're right and where they stand. And that's what just watching the media, it's just been so interesting. And also another thing that I didn't like, they have these headlines when they talk about the Africans at the border. And it's just kind of like Africans say, the headline is literally Africans say they are being detained at the border, or like
It's not making it definitive. It's like making it like
yes,
open-ended.
yes, I saw that
Yeah.
from the New York Times, I saw that from the Washington Post, I saw that from all the major publications. And that's that type of stuff, which is going back to my point of why I'm like, we always have to think Black first, because it's just like in these situations, it's you're something that you've interviewed people with, you have their quotes, you have video footage showing that this is happening,
And they're
and
still physically in the country.
and they're physically there. They're literally still physically there. And you're still going to say, essentially, Africans claim racism is happening. And it's like, no, it is.
Yeah, I think like, yeah, and I think like I've had to like stop watching the coverage of it because it makes me like gross, because I think like we want to believe that we're like this like perfect place. And I also think, to your point, Mackenzie, I think the US like, you know, emotionally and mentally has come from this place of like we've never lost, which is technically true, but I think we then glorify war in this sense that it doesn't have like real serious outcomes.
Yeah.
Like where it's kind of like, oh, we'll just send aid, and you know, the Ukraine people are fighting so valiantly, and it's like that's not a good thing. Like that sucks to like be fighting, like to be David against Goliath is not honorable.
Yeah,
And
no.
so like it gets to like this weird perverse place of like, oh well, you know, the Ukraine people are fighting, and it's like that's probably not the conversation that we need to have, of like how do we get people out and how do we do all these other things, but like we're too busy focusing on like the conflict. And I think that goes to like America's love for like war.
Yeah,
and like
and
without
sticking our
saying
head
it.
into stuff that we really don't need to. I do have a question. Do you all think that like he would probably, that President Biden would try to use this situation in like his running, like when he reruns?
What is he rerunning where?
I mean, if he does, I'm assuming.
First of all, the Republicans are gonna get the presidency next.
I'm just saying, do y'all think he would try to use this as a I'm the savior, I can, you know, get us out of this, you know, because I feel like
your point, to you guys' point, and that's why I was so quiet, because I would just feel like, I mean, America always tries to, like, they're the kid or the girl in high school that like pulls somebody's hair and then hire like, and it acts like a saint type of thing. That's what America is. And to your point of like Biden plays right into that goddamn ideology and mindset of, you know, white savior, that complex.
Funny, I don't think he will. I don't know what you could say about this. And like, which is like, I think over time, and I think this is like the most unpopular opinion ever, I think I'm slowly becoming not sympathetic to Biden, but like he's dealing with a lot of shit that's either A, out of his control, or that he can't fix without a lot of people doing stuff that they don't want to do. Like COVID, he can't force people to take the vaccine. How is he involved in Russia deciding to invade Ukraine? I don't know. He can't. What can he really do?
I'm sorry to be so like self-involved here, but I don't care about none of that for real, except for these student loans.
I agree. But COVID and Ukraine is going to shape how a lot of people view him. And those are often two things that he can only do honestly so much about.
Yeah. But like I was speaking with someone, they said if it was a Republican president, it may have like been more than what Biden has done.
I think that's bullshit, but I can explain why.
More what though?
Like you said, like being impulsive, like
getting with the Ukraine.
Yeah, getting more involved in
that. I mean, if it was Trump, I don't know, because I do hope, even despite Trump being Trump and who he was, like, no, I do hope to some extent you still kind of understand, he would even understand the repercussions of like doing something haste and doing something irrational like that. But I guess we can go to the next.
Or rather, I just want to put one point on that. Do you know how all of this is very ironic, especially with Republicans and stuff attacking, or in Trump and stuff doing stuff? You do know the reason why Trump was impeached the first time, right? It was
Why?
because he got on the phone with the now Ukrainian president and withheld aid, with the caveat being, I will not give you all military aid unless you dig up dirt on Biden, which is like the
Oh my
funniest. It's basically like chickens coming home to roost.
He's cool. He cool with Putin, ain't it, or something like that.
So yeah, so basically for Republicans to talk, if Trump was still in office, Ukraine would be probably going fully under right now. Because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's like it probably was gonna be a bigger deal. Like we would have maybe got more involved.
I know, I don't think we would have done anything. Because
Really?
Trump literally said, hey, dig up dirt on my opponent, or else I'm gonna like not send you any money to deal with Russia, which you're now dealing with. But I digress. So now that we're talking about Biden, he had his State of the Union on Tuesday. I watched, live tweeted it, which kind of made me kind of just tweet anything because I didn't really enjoy it that much. But any kind of takeaways that you all had from it? I kind of have a couple. I don't know if you all want me to kickstart, but
Go ahead and kickstart since you are our live tweeter. And if y'all aren't following us on Twitter, you should, by the way, small plug.
What was interesting to me is that naturally, because Ukraine is happening, he focused most of his time on that. But his domestic agenda in terms of stuff like student loans, he didn't mention once. Voting, he mentioned about 45 minutes in for about 2 sentences. And he did say the words fund the police like 3 times in a row. So I don't really know what to make of anything. I think he's not clearly doing any favors, but I think we're in for a nothing burger until like at least the rest of his time in office. I don't think he's going to get anything done. That's what that told me.
Oh, Sleepy Joe, we meet again.
You're stupid. I mean,
That's what it's given. It's just given. The speech just gave. I'm just floating on by. I'm not.
Well,
I'm still.
Yeah, I think it is.
But
I'm not saying anything.
Though, he got a lot of stuff going on, right? Like it's a lot. The last couple of years has been a lot. So, like, imagine being the president of the United States of America in this time period. Like, you can't. It's so much. Like, what can you really focus on? Type of thing. But on the flip side, it's like,
oh, go ahead. He's focusing on his Build Back Better plan, but I don't think I don't know if it's the CARES Act or Build Back.
No, you got it.
And aren't they still trying to pass it in Congress?
Yeah, they haven't passed it.
Yeah, I don't think they will. So I will say his focus is there. And honestly, if it did get passed in a perfect world, there's something in there about free pre-K for all.
Free pre-K. But it's not going to get passed.
Yeah, so it's not going to get passed. So if it did, that would be great. But like y'all keep saying he's so much on his plate. It's been a hard year for everybody, and we still have to show up. You decided to be president. Like at least full throttle. Go.
Oh, I'm not making excuses for bro now. Let me.
I just feel like even in his speech, though, he could have, if he would have went full throttle at least on one topic, like besides the Ukraine stuff, like that, I feel like still is kind of you're not even saying anything. But like, okay, I'm gonna hit COVID hard. This is happening.
I gave the American people something.
Yeah, at least one thing that we could at least grasp on. Cause like Sleepy Joe, you're not talking about nothing.
Yeah, I think that was his big mistake. Because I think, like, of course you have to talk about Ukraine, but like most people are either it's another country, so they're not like tapped into it like that, or they just don't think it affects them like that, which it really doesn't. So I'm kind of with you, McKinney. I think he should have just been like, okay, I'm either going to say, Congress, y'all need to do voting rights, or y'all need to do this, and like just give the people a bone. Because outside of that, like. And this is why I think, like, what's the difference between him and Obama? Like, Obama went all in on the Affordable Care Act, and he burned a lot of political capital, and Democrats lost a lot of seats in his first term and the midterms, but he got the bill. And it was hard at first, but it worked in the long run. And now it's like his signature thing of basically he's the president who could say, I gave all you healthcare. And that's going to be his legacy. And I think Biden kind of just wanted to kind of be like, we're going to use the natural process. It's like, no, bro, you got to like go full fucking throttle on one thing, whether it's voting rights or student loans. And he just hasn't done that.
But he's never done that. He's
I
never
agree.
done that. And that's why
agree.
also
I agree.
I will, the one thing I will say is I guess I not feel bad. I kind of like not really feel for him. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
He's been dealt a rough hand. He's been dealt a rough
hand, but also he never campaigned down like full throttle going one way either. When he was asked about,
he just was like, I'm here.
He kind of teeter-tottered with that. So it's kind of, I feel like it is kind of unfair, you know, to I guess expect a different person, because I feel like he really is the same person that was running. Like he never really, I feel like, stood firm on anything for real. But yeah.
That's fair. I mean, bro, I don't know. That's how I feel.
I mean, yeah.
Too much, bro. Like, bro is like, I don't know. American politics are annoying. I'm annoyed with American politics right now, I guess, because
yeah, like I left the speech basically with the like feeling like, okay, he's gonna be a one-term president, and like we're
gonna be back to the bush,
basically. I mean, and it's kind of on Democrats. I mean, like that's kind of the thing. It's kind of like there's no one else to really blame, because like, you know, Henry,
y'all wanted to see so bad. Y'all wanted to see so bad. Oh my God. Y'all was in barbershops on your hands and knees begging Black people to vote. And you finally get here
and don't do anything.
And you don't do anything. But honestly, of course you don't. That's what always happens. So it's whatever. But I mean, one-term president, I don't know. Cause I still feel like, and I love my people, I really do. But the power he be having over Black voters is kind of scary. Like
I just don't see how you sustain it though. I really don't.
Like, I don't see how he did it the first time. I really don't.
It was because Trump was there. Trump was there. Like I just don't know. Like what case does he, like, for instance, for us three, like granted, I am going to vote for whoever the D is on the ticket, no matter what. But if you are a somewhat politically involved person and you might vote or might not, what's his thing that's going to say, hey, over the last 4 years, I did X. If you keep me elected, I will continue to do X and we will build on Y. I don't know what that is.
Well, that's the thing, like, to your point of most people voted for him because of the state of America. Like, we're like, Trump has to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't do this for another 4 years. So with that being the case, a lot of people are tapped out. Like, they're not really going to be paying attention to these elections. Like, and then when you talk about Black people only pay attention when it's like, it's war, baby. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, Obama's running, Trump is, you know what I'm saying? The last presidencies have been chaotic, or not chaotic, but it's like
chaotic.
We've had to tap in.
Yeah, so, and I think, like, what's the one, like, for you two, like, off the top of your head, what's the one thing he's done?
That's why I talked around it, because nothing. Like,
I did get my COVID test, my little rinky-dink COVID test.
I still haven't got mine, but
I could have ordered it.
I could have ordered it, but
I got mine too. But like, my thing is
that enough?
No, it's not.
For real,
like the student loan pause, didn't he? But that was by force. He was bullied into that, so that really doesn't count either.
And as of now, there's a May 1st payment.
Oh yeah,
restart up, and he's not pushing that back.
The thumbs up of we can get back to regular.
Oh yeah, I almost barfed when he said we need to fill the downtowns again. People need to get back to work. I said, slow your roll, champ.
Yeah, like, bro, I'm not going into the office, shawty. Like, it's still, I work. No.
Mind your business. So I really don't know. I mean, I just don't really see like what thing he can do or what thing he's actually trying to do. It just seems like he's just kind of like, I'm almost like a placeholder. Like, I'll just kind of like get this shit back.
That's how he planned it too.
Yeah, he's giving, let me just work my 9 to 5 and go home. Because okay, he was inaugurated in January. It's still, I guess, it's still early.
It's been 12 months. 12 plus, it's been 14 months, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, McKenzie. He been in there like a year.
Been that long? Change. Wow. Oh my God. Where has the year gone?
He's been in there years of change, shawty. Like,
yeah.
That is so crazy. I totally
like you said, Sleepy Joe, fool.
Yeah, like he's
and
had
there
a good.
It is. And there, literally, there it is.
That's to McKenzie. Wow, that's totally how you know we've been locked down.
Yeah.
For a minute, and that's why he's trying to say what he's saying. Something about let's get back. Cause like we don't even know what day it is. You thought this man had been in the office just 3 months, Shawty? Like,
and has done the same amount of work. How about
that's
that?
what I'm about to say. That's crazy to speak to his work ethic though. Cause in a
year, we still cannot concrete give you some examples of things
like
that
what you did what happened, did what it is.
I can tell you, it's just not good. He gave us that little $600 when they promised that. Oh no, what was
yeah,
it?
and
No,
he
it was
did
14.
sign.
That wasn't him.
He signed.
He
All of those. But we y'all know what we mean. Y'all know what we mean about things, actual things.
He about to lock y'all up.
Oh, he did say that though. He did say, but let's clear our names. We do not support the government locking our Black and brown brothers and sisters up.
It's wiping, girl. And folks scammed on that PPP, and he started.
But you know who gonna get the short end of the stick? Back to my earlier point, is
you already
know. If you tweet it out, you better search your ad names and search up PPP and delete every tweet you got, because y'all was talking about,
but if tweet you better get with a good accountant and make sure that you got you straight. That's what you need to do.
Henry, the government gonna want their money, or else.
Again, if what's your case per that PPP thing, if you got the regular amount, I don't know about all that plus stuff, and I ain't do nothing. But per my understanding of what happened, if you spend it on your business, then you're forgiven. The only thing is it's gonna count as your income. So that's why I say get an accountant, because you gotta file that on your income. If you don't put it on your income and then they check your taxes and all, they like what is it called?
See. First off, you got the premise wrong. You assume that everybody who applied for that thing actually had an LLC that was actually legitimate.
That's what I'm saying.
I know a couple people that, and y'all better hope and pray I stay nice and liking y'all, because I know a couple
y'all
people
talking too much on the internet, and they gonna come knocking on y'all door. But
run my stuff. I ain't got nothing.
It ain't me. But no, the point is, and you talked about filing that on your taxes though, but the PPP loans was low key a while ago. So the taxes that people, the PPP loan, I feel like was the beginning of the pandemic. People got that. I would have been on the last tax round.
Well, they did like multiple stuff, I think. So like for all I know is just talk to your accountant, because they're gonna be the person to tip. Like you gotta make sure you file your stuff properly. That's all I'm saying.
I would go a step further. Talk to a lawyer.
What a lawyer you gonna do if they not?
I mean, it's fraud.
Bro, it's fraud, bro.
People was getting real money. Like
you're taking money from the government with a zero-sum interest loan.
I'm talking to the people that actually have businesses. Now, if you scam,
that's what we're talking about. The scammers. If you have business, you have nothing to worry about because you took the money for the right reasons. I'm talking about
for sure.
I'm talking about Day and
Henry,
who came up on 10 racks.
Look, I ain't got nothing for the scammers. Y'all you better hope you ain't take too much to slide through. Shut up. That's what all I got, because I mean, what you gonna tell? What a lawyer gonna do for you?
I mean,
cop a plea. Cop a plea.
No,
I see somebody posted on the Shade Room today talking about bro ran up $1 billion in PPP money and spend it on a Lamborghini and strippers.
No, I believe it. Now, I don't know people who's running up like that. That's crazy.
No, they had like hundreds, and I don't know nobody personally, but I heard through Twitter and social media people was getting like 100,000, 1,000, and I'm like, what the heck y'all got going on?
I don't know them people. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, there was a quote.
But let me hold something.
Yeah,
let me hold something. Though.
All right,
don't clean the money first, then let me hold it.
Shoot, that might be Biden's legacy.
No, it ain't. Chill out.
Yeah, actually, Leah, let's not. That's not.
Yeah, stop talking like
nah. That was kind of dark.
Okay, but for real tip, what's really going on? Just keep y'all up to date with the state of union in Ukraine. Noah gonna rock us out. Give us the heads up. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was gonna say, y'all have anything? We only did this to just talk about these two things. Y'all have anything else that's popping?
Oh, and then we didn't talk about Biden picking his SCOTUS pick.
Henry and I talked about it last time, but it wasn't official. It came out the day after, so we basically talked about it. But I don't know anything else going on in social media land or conversation wise. I actually don't know the answer to this question.
Does our journalist have anything to add?
I feel like the main thing that I've been seeing is the Ukraine stuff. I think we covered everything. Honestly, State of Union, we're on par.
Boom. All right. Well, this has been episode number 82. To everybody out there, thank you for listening and watching. As always, be sure to check us out online at what's really going on pod.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WRGO Pod. Be sure to like, listen, subscribe, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where you can watch this video in full. Thank you.
Wait, did y'all see the HBC